Good day guys, my name is Ben and welcome to my channel. Last week I did a video on the ipega 9087 retractable controller. It's also called ipega Red Knight. While my main focus was to test some RetroPie on Raspberry Pi, um, so that I can make a portable games console. While I was doing that, I also thought, okay, I'll test it with an Android phone. And as I sort of got a little bit of hang of it, I really liked the way emulation works on the Android phone. Although it's not very intuitive in terms of the user menu and the interface that you get out of RetroPie on a Raspberry Pi or Orange Pi or something like that. So I eventually sort of planned to make a Orange Pi little console that will fit in here, and this will be used as a controller. But in the meantime, I thought I'll do another video on what sort of options are there for emulation on Android phone. So this is retro emulation. I'll go and test up to Sega Dreamcast, N64 and PlayStation 1, starting from the original Game Boy and NES, and some other portables along the way as well. Most of the emulators that I have tried are free. I'm not sure whether they are available on the market, as in the Play Store or not, for free with the Android Oreo update. But I always had it on my Android phone a long time ago. So I have been mainly using .emu series by Robert Barolia, if I pronounce his name correctly. So he had a lot of emulators for free, probably a couple of years back. All of his emulation .emu series for like things like GBA, Game Boy Color, Neo Geo Portable, Neo Geo, NES, SNES 9X. I think only SNES 9X is available for free. The others are not, I believe. So I think if you really like to emulate on this on Android phones, then I think his emulators are really good, free or paid. I managed to get them for free, but there are paid versions of the same emulators are on the Play Store. I believe they are more updated. These are probably older versions of the emulators, but they work fine, so I don't need to upgrade to a more modern one. Things gets a little bit tricky when you want to try and emulate N64 and PlayStation 1, and also Dreamcast as well. So Rycast is probably the best and only emulator for Dreamcast on the Play Store that you can find, and it's free, so that's great. Kudos to the developers to sort of make it available for free. It's not for everyone, so it requires a bit of a setup and configuration to get it going, but once you manage to get it running, it works fine, no problems there. Apart from that, I haven't tried PPSSPP for PSP emulation, so we'll give it a go on here. N64 and PlayStation 1, I think I'm gonna use the RetroArch. So I want to talk a little bit about RetroArch as well. RetroArch is sort of like a multi-emulation app that requires separate codes to be downloaded. These codes are really similar. Or RetroArch is basically the same thing behind RetroPie. It's the same sort of software that powers the RetroPie system, and emulation station is just the front end of it, because RetroArch itself is a little bit more intimidating to play around with. Like it takes a while to get it set up. So if you guys are interested in getting my configuration file for RetroArch, which you can copy and paste into your RetroArch folder, and you get the exact same configuration like me, just leave a comment on the link on this channel, on this video below, and I'll see how I can share that file with you, maybe on GitHub or something. So you can just copy one file and you have most of the RetroArch setup for you. You'll have to download all the cores, and you obviously have to get your own ROMs, which I'm not going to tell you where to find them. Google is your friend for that. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started. We're gonna start first with the free emulators by Robert Barolia. So let's start with GBA. Always good to have your screen rotated, that helps. I'm gonna just load game, and that's obviously stark contrast with what you find on RetroArch. Nicely curated selection of games, and also everything is pre-scraped for you, or you can scrape it. Here unfortunately there's no such choice unless you, I think, go for the paid version, more sort of modern version. So just quickly go through and find a game that is good. Let's try Donkey Kong Country. So as you can see, it's working perfectly. You can hide the on-screen controls because you have the I'm just gonna hide the on-screen controls. But any sort of modern Android phone should be able to run this at full speed. Shouldn't be any problems at all. This takes a while to get going. Come on. Game Boy Color. Hopefully I have the controls set up. So Now I picked the wrong game. It's just gonna have a long intro, so we're gonna skip through that in a moment. Yeah, absolutely no problem. running the game by color. Just gonna hide the on-screen options. So one thing with his emulator is that you get the consistent menu options, so you know exactly where to go, what to set up, how to set up the controller, how to hide the controller. All that sort of stuff is pretty straightforward, so that's pretty good if it shows his emulators. Yeah, so that's perfect. Next up, we're gonna try Neo Geo emulator. I'm just gonna play one of my favorite games on Neo Geo, and that is Neo Geo Turf Masters or Neo Turf Masters. You will need some sort of Neo Geo BIOS file in order to get this running. I can turn up the volumes on this, it should be fine. Again, options, input, touchscreen off, and input device setup, picking up the controller, and set joystick keys. Up is up, right, down, left. Coin select is select, start is start, A is A, B is B, C is X, D is Y. You can leave the turbo buttons out of here. Australia all the way. Yep, Neo Geo works perfectly on this, no problems at all. Even with fast-paced sort of games, the emulation is perfect. No problems there either. Wasn't paying attention where my shot was going, so yeah, it's relatively flat. And try that. Yeah, it's a birdie. Right. Next up, we're gonna try another game. Just really quick on this. Rhymes. Neo Geo. And if I can find a Metal Slug game. So I'm obviously running this on Samsung Galaxy S7, which is coming up to a couple of years old now, a couple of generation old. It seems to be handling most of the games just fine. Most of the games that I want to play anyway. Yeah, no problems running Metal Slug at all. So just gonna get out. NES should work fine as well. Yep. So Neo Geo Portable, one of my favorite portable consoles of all time. I have kind of collected like 20 games for it. Really expensive stuff from US, like $50 a pop. It's been a very expensive exercise to collect it. Neo Geo Portables themselves don't come in cheap in Australia either. They're like $100 plus. So yeah, but anyway, just try Metal Slug on that. Should work fine. Just get rid of this stuff. Alright. This is actually a pretty fun game to play. Come on, die already. Alright. PC Engine, see if I got any games for it. Is on PC Engine is another one of those. Just a nightmare to collect in Australia. It's just a super duper expensive exercise. I don't have PC Engine. Alright, so I need to set up the controls for it, and so same deal again. Input device setup, and pick the controller, set gamepad keys, the same up, right, down, left. So this exercise you just have to do it for the first time. It should be alright afterwards. 1 and 2 and turbo 1 and turbo 2. I think that will do for now. And go back to the game, start. I'm gonna play spicy mode. Come on. Oh, that already. Okay. I don't have any MSX games. Let's just try SNES. One of my all-time favorite game. Right. Okay. So I need to set up the controls. Input setup. In-game actions not needed for now. Up, right, down, left, and select, start, A, B, X, Y, L, R, and that will do. Close menu. Yep. Can't remember playing this game with this controller. But anyway, from that state automatically, which is pretty good. This controller doesn't have any lag at all, or at least because I've been emulating for a long time. I don't know, I'm used to it, so. So you shouldn't have any troubles emulating SNES at all. Okay, so now let's go. Alright, so that's most of I forgot about the Genesis or Mega Drive emulator. Load game, and I know which game I want to play. And that is Brian Lara Cricket. Now, back in the day when we were kids, me and my brother, we only had NES, and we came from a sort of middle class family, so my dad couldn't afford to get us Mega Drive, which one of my best mate had back in India, and he had this game, Brian Lara Cricket, and yeah, we used to play a lot, and eventually when we got a 386 or a 486, my uncle got a 386 computer, and that had a Alan Border Cricket that he got hold of somehow. Was pretty decent, very similar, game, just a different skin. This one has a bit more menu options and stuff that Alan Border Cricket didn't have, but yeah, it was basically a predecessor of this game. Now, why can't I set? Yeah, so set gamepad keys, same deal, right, down, left, mode should be select, start, A, B, C, not gonna matter much. I forgot to select the country for me, which is fine. I've selected venue as Australia rather than team as Australia. It's alright. By the way, 90s cricket team has the best squad ever. If you are a cricket fan. Yeah, so Mega Drive works perfectly, no issues at all. And did I hit far enough? Yes, it's a 4 rounds. Right, okay, so let's get out of that. Try PPSSPP. Don't have much games on it, but let's see. SP. Yes. Yeah, so the buttons are already mapped, so that's the advantage of one of the modern emulators from the Play Store. And back and back. Come on, quick.
Let's go.
It can take a while to get used to the controls. Yeah, but this is not a very demanding game, I guess. It works fine. Yep, so it's running at full speed, no problems at all. Alright, so let's get out of these. And so that was PPSSPP. Just quickly look through the RetroArch emulator that I got it going. Now, some games work really well on RetroArch, and I was having trouble loading the first stage of the Soul Calwell. Like it had some graphical glitches on the background. Yeah, so let's see if I can load a state or something. but this Dead or Alive game, it's working fine on me. So yeah, absolutely good. I mean, the beauty of Android phone is that you can load up like a 256 gig card and load your heart's worth of content. It's not gonna be any issues at all. But it gets a bit annoying after you have like thousands of games, and like you know, if you set favorites and stuff. Yeah, super easy. If you're going on a long flight or something, you're always going to have the your phone with you, and all you need to carry is just one little controller, rather than carrying different games consoles or handhelds and stuff like that with you. Especially handy when you're traveling. You can travel light and not risk your consoles. Alright, now I've loaded up the RetroArch. Getting the RetroArch working was quite a lot of work, I think, and I still haven't figured out how to. So I have set up most of the emulators in here. I have added PS1 ROMs, and there was another console that wasn't getting picked up, I think. Can't remember whether it was N64. No, N64 is picked up, but I think PS1 is definitely, you can't see it here. Oh yeah, there was Atari Lynx. Atari Lynx is not being picked up, but I had it. It's here, and I can load up the ROMs and stuff, and it works fine. It's just for some reason I couldn't get that to work. So just loading a PS1 game, and as I said, RetroArch, it's a lot of work trying to set this up, but once you get it going, it works absolutely bloody good, and I'm really surprised that it's free. I'm really thinking of donating some money to the developers, because they work so hard. If they made it somewhat easier, it would be really nice for someone who's not really tech savvy to set this up, but otherwise it's a bloody good emulator. It emulates pretty much everything. Come on. Now this is gonna have a little bit of trouble, yeah, with the PlayStation controls, how that works. No. Yeah, just get to the game already. Yeah, but PlayStation 1 sort of works fine. I haven't had any trouble. One beauty of this is that you have the very familiar RetroPie shortcuts and tricks. So that works pretty good. So close. And we're gonna try a Nintendo 64. And I just want to try the game that I played recently, and I know that works. So this one here, I know that this works. Road Rash for the Nintendo 64. I love the soundtrack. such a rubber band AI. I had a 4-star and I still managed to catch up. Whoa. Right, so yeah, as you could see, Nintendo 64 works perfectly. I tried some of the harder games to emulate, like Conker's Bed for a Day, and it works fine as well on this Samsung Galaxy S7. Obviously, if you got a modern phone, probably much better as well. I don't tend to spend a lot of money. This phone just works for me, so I haven't felt the need to upgrade the phone. Now just gonna quickly look through, just go through this menu, and most of the things that I've already played on the most of the consoles, so that works fine. With RetroArch you can have multiple consoles as well, and all of this sort of gets listed once you set up here. It works fine. So yeah, in conclusion, this is a really good controller. In the first video I mentioned that the D-pad was a bit mushy, but I think I wasn't really sort of paying attention to it. Now I have had this controller for at least 2 weeks, and I've been playing constantly since then, few hours a day, every day, so it's been working perfectly for me. Having this little clickable sticks are handy to play a lot of games. Android phone emulates most of the consoles really well. That's it, guys. I just really wanted to show you guys how you can emulate on Android device, and emulate retro consoles on on Android device. Couple of years old Android phone, so that's probably a good benchmark for you, what you're gonna get out of your phone. Yeah, apart from that, if you like the video, please hit the like button and subscribe button, and until next time, I'm gonna do start building a small console that I talk about. It will probably fit in here with a 3.5 4:3 ratio screen using Orange Pi. So I'll do a quick video on setting up RetroArch Pi on Orange Pi 0, and yeah, in the coming weeks I'll design the case, design the console with speakers, batteries, all that sort of stuff in it, and using this controller as the main controls, and hopefully the screen will probably fit within this sort of space, so it's nice and perfect sort of retro looking, retro feeling with 4:3 screen ratio console. So yeah, I'll be sharing those files with you if you are interested. Yeah, until next time, thank you.